Let me ask you, could you use a little extra money? Well, of course you could. Everybody could use that extra revenue to pay the bills, pay down debt, or save for retirement. With philsgang.com, we help you make that extra income in the stock market. For over 15 years, Phil Grande and philsgang.com helps folks who are interested in learning short-term and long-term investing by providing professional-level charting skills and strategies. philsgang.com is your number one source to learn, invest, and profit in the stock market. And you can do this for only $49.95 a month. With philsgang.com, you learn how to invest in the market. You get daily investment coaching guidance, and you will learn to invest and trade with the skills and confidence of the pros. Just log on and get daily investment instructions and make profits. Plus, all philsgang.com material is archived for your convenience. Go to philsgang.com to join or call 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. Call today.
Be sure to watch the Phil's Gang Show with Phil Grande, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on various devices like smartphones, tablets, your computer, and more. Get free access to the Phil's Gang Show right in your hands at home or on the go. Simply go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com and click on the Listen Live link. And we'll see you on the charts.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Listen to what Fisher said, the former Fed governor.
We front-loaded at the Federal Reserve an enormous rally in order to accomplish a wealth effect.
That's right. Did you hear that? They took the stock market, front-loaded it, ran at 200%, so we ended up not only with a fake stock market, but fake GDP, fake money, fake jobs, fake prices, fake everything. But we took advantage of that, and we're going to take advantage again. That's why I told my gang in May to short the market. On 5/29, that's May 29th, I'm telling you to short the stock market. And we were right. And the market went down over 11%. That's why you got to join my gang and learn how to short stocks just as much as buying them. Learn how to short with me, Phil Grande at philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. You know, every day we hear from Wall Street, you turn on the TV, and they're telling us how the economy's great, everything's great. And these are the same people that run the 401ks who, with a 2% fee, take more than half of your money and put it in their pocket. You will never retire comfortably in a 401k. But try to convince 90 million people, it's almost impossible. People just don't listen. They get comfortable and stay with these 401ks. They don't work. You're not going to be able to retire. It's simple. Go to my site, philsgang.com. Join the gang, try it for a month, and we're going to show you how to use a chart. And that is going to put you in such a comfort zone of retirement.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264. There is only one talk show host, Phil Grande, who delivers both social and financial talk. Not even Hannity or Rush can deliver a 1-2 punch like that. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Phil Grande is unique, the industry leader, the first talk show host ever to combine social issues and finance into winning stock market ideas. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com.
They just told us right away that we're going to house you, we're going to feed you, and every single one of his medical bills is just all taken care of.
They've saved my family from financial ruin. It allowed me and my wife both to focus on the most important thing, which was the health and well-being of our son.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes. And that's what makes St. Jude so magical.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Doctors send us the toughest cases to be treated at St. Jude, and our patients come from all over the world.
When we come here, they told me, don't worry, everything will be taken care of.
We could never repay St. Jude for what they've given us.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti.
Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
There is only one talk show host, Phil Grande, who delivers both social and financial talk. Not even Hannity or Rush can deliver a 1-2 punch like that. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Phil Grande is unique, the industry leader, the first talk show host ever to combine social issues and finance into winning stock market ideas. That's Phil Grande, philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. The stocks discussed on Phil's Gang are not in any way a recommendation or solicitation to buy, sell, or hold. If considering acting on information presented, we first recommend you seek out a competent, licensed professional for advice. Get ready for the radio show that tells you what Wall Street doesn't want you to know.
Oh, I'm a money magnet. Money coming to me. Money sets me free. I'm a money magnet. Money coming to me.
It's your daily dose of how to manage your money. And now it's time for Phil's Gang on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. With your host, Phil Grande.
Most people don't care about it, but it gets brought up by the other side. So when I respond, and then I talk about how bad the jobs picture is, how bad our country is doing, how badly we're doing economically, how people are out of work, how our real unemployment rate is through the roof, and people don't want to talk about it. I talk about all of this. The only thing they pick up is the fact that I'll say something about, the Trump University case.
I think we are in a mild business recession. Now, it's not a whole economy recession because consumers are still spending some, and housing is okay.
Welcome to Phil's Gang, coast to coast around the country off the Wall Street Radio Network. And it goes on. They're trying to keep this market going, but Trump's telling the truth. Larry's telling a half-truth because that's the way he is. That's why he lost his job at CNBC. Too many complaints. But look, this is what they do. Now, Yellen came out and told us over a week ago that she was going to raise rates because the economy was doing so good, that the labor market was so strong. That was her reason for raising interest rates. The labor market was strong. That's all we heard. And then what happened last Friday? Collapsed. 38,000 jobs. Now she comes out today and makes another speech trying to pump the market up again. This is just incredible. Listen to what she says.
The news from the labor market over the past year has been generally good, with significant job gains, the unemployment rate declining below 5%.
Are you kidding? The unemployment rate is not going below 5%, and nothing is generally good. The percentage of working-age Americans with jobs have fallen dramatically under this president to a record low. That's 51% of all American workers are making $20,000 a year or less. 51%. Median household incomes, that means both husband and wife working, has plunged to poverty level. Are you kidding? What are they talking about? On Friday, after the disgraceful but ugly May 38,000 job number, she has the gall to come out here and lie again. 38,000 jobs. That's a 6-year low. And they revised April job number down from 138,000, down from 160 to 138,000. The 38,000, that's the May job number, brought down the labor force participation rate to a 10-year low. Here's what's going on. That means because with this 38,000 job number, we had 660,000 Americans who stopped looking for work in May. So we only have 38,000, but we have 600,000 say, I'm not looking for work. And because they don't count the 600,000, this administration, as unemployed, instead they count them as discouraged. But they don't count them as unemployed. That's how Obama engineers the unemployment rate from when he first got into office from 10% down to today of 4.7%. But if you add the discouraged back in to the 4.7%, we'd be at 18%. This is what Trump's talking about. And what we have is America going in two different directions. Nobody knows who to believe. Where you've got to have a president that comes in and tells the truth, says the unemployment rate's at 10%. And they have to remind people why the unemployment rate's at 18%. They have to remind people because a discouraged worker is a person unemployed. Unemployed. Who gave up looking for work. But this administration doesn't count them as unemployed when calculating the 4.7% unemployment rate. Instead, they're classified as discouraged, as marginally attached to the labor force. But the discouraged are not considered part of the labor force or part of the unemployment. What are you, nuts? They're off in a year somewhere, just floating around. That's why you can't trust, this is what Trump's saying, what this administration gives us as unemployment, as an unemployment number. Because if we added back just the 660,000 discouraged, and we added back the 5 million discouraged, since Obama's been in office, 5 million people he doesn't count as unemployed. He counts them as marginally attached to the labor force, but discouraged, but are not considered part of the labor force. If we added them back, we'd have an 18% unemployment rate. But they don't do it because you don't get reelected with an 18% unemployment rate because they know people don't look at productivity. They look at the stock market. They look at the unemployment rate. So we're at 4.7%. That's how he beat Romney. Romney should have beat him, but he didn't. However, Obama and his administration, with the help of his PR department, the media, especially NBC, CNBC, MSNBC, make the group thinkers believe that the unemployment rate dropped from 10% to 4.7% because we added jobs. But it's just the opposite. Each month, we average about 250,000 new jobs, but we average another 500,000 discouraged average each month. Those who quit looking for work. Bringing the labor participation rate down, and therefore bringing down the unemployment rate to 4.7%. So they've actually convinced people that the reason we're at 4.7% is because he's created all these jobs. He comes out and says, I created 14 million jobs, which is not 14 million. He created 9. Because the first year in office, the 5 million, he had 5 million lost jobs. The first year in office, 2009, he didn't count. He left it out. He said, we'll start counting my second year. Well, other presidents started counting the first year. It's amazing. But people really believe when they hear 4.7%, that's the real unemployment rate. We got there because of all these jobs created. Nobody talks about the discouraged. They leave that out. And there's a good reason. A good reason. These discouraged, remember, they're given incentives. They're given incentives to make sure they don't go back to work. They're given incentives to make sure they don't look for work. If they're out of work, don't go look for work because you'll screw me up. Because if you look for work and get a job, then the unemployment rate goes up. So please don't go to work. And Obama actually pays people not to work by giving them disability checks. He doubled disability checks by 14 million. Do you remember Pelosi told those who are working for health insurance to quit their job? Remember?
If you want to be creative and be a musician or whatever, you can leave your work, focus on your talent, your skill, your passion, your aspiration.
So here she is. They're telling people, we'll pay you a check every month for life not to work. Because It's important that we keep these discouraged workers, that you don't go look for a job. We'll also pay for your health insurance. We'll subsidize it. So if you're working just to have insurance, Pelosi said, you're job locked. So quit, go home, go work, become a pianist, study to become a florist, whatever you want, but don't work, for God's sakes. Because if you go and sign up for a job, we're screwed, because that unemployment rate goes up. We can't get reelected. This is what's going on. This is amazing. They also give other incentives to make sure you don't, if you're out of work, that you won't go back look for work. They give you food stamps, subsidized housing. Unbelievable. Oh, even housing. All you got to say is you're going to college. They'll pay for your rent. What are you, nuts? We'll be right back.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Everybody was asking me, how did I know to short forward when it was November? And it was when Aunt B was telling us everything was fine. Well, what people didn't know is Aunt B was lying to us. Because when she was raising the rates, machinery sales were down 5.6%, computers were down 8.7%, communication equipment sales down 21%. I took a look at our chart and I saw that institutions were pulling money out of Ford. So we said, let's short Ford. And we did that in November, on November 10th, because my charts told me there was a big sell signal, and we took advantage of it. And you know that stock Ford has now dropped 17%. That's the return my gang has now, 17%. Don't follow any of the jibber jabber from CNBC or the Fed. Follow me, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. There's so much bad news out there. Let me give you some good news. The good news is you can retire when you're 65 years of age. You can live the same lifestyle you've come accustomed to, but you're going to have to make a change. And what's that change? To get rid of your 401k. It's a scam. It doesn't work. We've never seen more people pulling their money out of 401ks than right now. $40 billion just in this last few quarters, because they know it doesn't work. So they're taking their money and stuffing it in the mattress. That's not what to do. Look, it's not about the money you put away. It's about how you invest that money. And clearly 401ks don't work. But it does work here at Phil's Gang. philsgang.com, where we just got a return of over 35% in copper.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. You know, people make it too complicated. Wall Street tells you the market is trailing PE and the forward PE and price to sales to confuse you. All you need to know is, does the stock have volume? What's that mean? Energy. What does that mean? If you have people buying a stock, enough of the stock's being bought, it influences the prices to go up. Join my gang, philsgang.com. We're using charting, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call. That's 877-600-4264.
Even if the federal funds rate were to return to near zero, the FOMC would still have considerable scope to provide additional accommodation.
Accommodation, what's that mean? It simply means printing money. What she's saying is the economy's terrible. We're going to claw back that 25% or 0.25% interest rate hike that we did in December. And I'm going to print a whole bunch of money so that we can give it to companies to buy their own shares back so they can boost the stock market higher. The problem with that money is 0%. That means that people lose their jobs. They go from full-time to part-time. From part-time, they go to poverty. That's the problem. We can't keep doing this. Here's the point. When the market is going up, it's always when the economy is bad. Join my gang, philsgang.com, so you can participate.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's pretty amazing when you consider that 7 years ago, we didn't have the treatments we have now. We cure 80% of children with cancer. Go back 50 years, we were curing 20 to 30%. This is the miracle story of modern medicine. We understand what makes this cancer tick. And of course, without donors from around the world, this just couldn't happen. There's one thing we're focused on, and that's beating this thing.
St. Jude Children's Research Hospital. Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. Every month now we get jobs. They give us the job numbers. We've been averaging, they tell us, 235,000 jobs a month. It's been a lie. That's a bogus number. The BLS that counts the jobs, they use what they call the birth-death model system. What they do is they manipulate the jobs so 40% of that number that you see is fake. That's right. If you take 235,000 jobs, the number really is 140,000. They bogus up about 95,000 jobs. But that's what goes on now on Wall Street. That's why you want to be a member of my gang, Phil's Gang, philsgang.com, because that way you get the truth. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264. Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Radio Show. Want to know more about Phil's Gang? Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG, 877-600-4264.
The perspective is still that you had a long run of pretty good job creation, and then you had a bad month, which was not, part of that was the Verizon strike. So the number would have been about twice what we saw if Verizon hadn't been on strike.
35,000 workers.
That's right. Even so, no question, job growth is slowing, the economy is slowing. That happens. There's no particular explanation that, I think it has a lot to do with Fed misstep last year, but that's sort of by the side.
No, he knows better than that. The reason we have problems with our workforce, the reason why we're not growing, is because of the trade deficit. The trade deficit is the mother lode of all job killers. More than the Affordable Care Act, much more than the Affordable Care Act, more than the national debt. Matter of fact, you can combine the national debt, the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, and the trade deficit is worse than those two combined. That's how bad. But the politicians won't admit it. They don't want to talk about it because they're the ones that cause it, because they're a bunch of cowards. We'll talk about that in a moment. First, let's go make some money. Go to Stock Corner.
Stock Corner is brought to you by the Phil's Gang video channel. Go to philsgang.com. Click on the video channel graphic and check out Phil's free videos on the market, economy, and current events.
Also brought to you by Walter's Way, a wonderful book. It's an award-winning book. And the beautiful thing about this book, all the proceeds goes to the Vera and Walter Scheer Foundation and St. Jude. Pick up the book. Go to my site, philsgang.com. It's the 2016 Silver Action Business Book Award. That's what it received. In 2016, the Silver Action Business Book Award. That's a mouthful. I got it out. It's about a great man. It's about an entrepreneur, incredible man who fought through all kinds of problems. I mean, incredible. He had tuberculosis for 6 years. 6 years. He had to go to sanitarium. He was a young man, about 20 years old. And in those days, even in the winter, they made you sleep outside on a porch. On a porch. 6 years. Couldn't be near anybody. In an asylum where they make you sleep at night out on the porch when it's cold, because that was how the way they try to treat you. The people that were treating them, many of them were just alcoholics, because they were outcasts. That's the only people they could get to treat them. And he tells you in the book how he considered them angels. They go in with a big 6-8 inch needle and they get the fluid out of his lung. 6 years. It's like going to prison, being in solitary confinement for 6 years. Nobody else could have stood that. He comes out and becomes one of the greatest entrepreneurs in this country. The fax machine is his. He bought and sold 50 companies. 50 companies, this man. It just goes on and on. What an incredible story of a man. This is a real entrepreneur. So go to my site, philsgang.com, get Walter's Way, and the book's still available. fall in love not with just the book, but with the man. There's no people like Walter anymore. That's it. Okay, let's get back to what's going on here. This is crazy. The stock market. We're about 2% away from making an all-time high. Isn't that crazy? When earnings have declined, the fourth quarter earnings, the last of the 2015, the last quarter, we dropped by 8%. The first quarter, we dropped by 9%. There's no growth. There's no economic growth. There's no earnings growth, and we're 2% away from an all-time high. Are you nuts? With no revenues or earnings growth or margin growth? So bad, the largest companies have cut 35% of their staff back in April. The financial sector, the most important of all sectors, had the largest decrease in price of all sectors by 8.4%. Manufacturing plunged to a 7-year low. Factory orders, industrial production. We just got the PMI and the ICM report out, the weakest in 10 years. There's no orders. But we're only 2% away from an all-time high. This is one of the biggest bubbles ever. Biggest bubbles ever. We have low productivity. We have terrible low wages. Mostly all part-time jobs. That's what they're creating. People are slipping into poverty because when you have part-time jobs, those are dead-end jobs, and the next stop is poverty. The net worth of medium households have plunged by 24% under this president. Same level as 1992. So what do? Well, we continue to make money. That's all you can do. So you can't buy a stock based on fundamentals, economic fundamentals. You'll never make any money. But if you buy a stock, let me tell you, it's not going to shut the market down. And you know darn well, the smallest population of this country, the 5 percentile, who remember, their portfolios went up in this rally, this front-loaded rally that started in 2009, where the market went up 124%. Their individual portfolios went up 40%. 40%. So why don't we follow them? When they get in, we get in. When they get out, we get in. And that's what we do. And that's why you join the gang, because we have designed the technology, the color-coded technology, so that you can identify when they're buying. Now, we set up, and we're going to watch now, oil. I had my gang, if you remember back in December, I said, let's buy some oil. Let's buy some gold. Mining stocks. They're going to take off. And then I said, after that, we're going to buy oil. And we did, OIL. We bought oil around $5, $5.05. Today, oil, the oil stock, I'm talking about oil stock, oil, is up over 25%. 25%. Now we're going to do the same thing with retail. Retail got killed. Now we're going to catch the retail stocks. We're going to catch the good stocks. We're going to catch JCPenney. We're going to catch Macy's. We're going to catch Tiffany's. See, when nobody wants the stocks and they're beaten down, that's when you catch them. So I was able to call the gold rally before anybody else did. And it worked, plus oil. And now the retail. Join my gang right now. Steve is waiting for your call. 877-600-GANG. 877-600-GANG. Become a member. Create some wealth.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
We're on our best 2-year job creation streak in 20 years.
What are you, nuts? Who'd believe that? Let me tell you the truth. First of all, the 292,000 jobs we got in December 2015, and they told us the unemployment rate is 5%. Not true. You can't trust these people on Wall Street. You can't trust the press. What they don't count is, in December, for example, the 615,000 discouraged workers. A discouraged worker is a person unemployed, gave up looking for work, but this administration does not count them as unemployed when calculating the 5% unemployment rate. Instead, they classify the discouraged as marginally attached to the labor force, but they're not considered part of the labor force or part of the unemployment. That's why you can't trust what they tell you. If we back into 625,000, the real unemployment rate is 12%, not 5%. That's why you got to join my gang, where you get the truth and where we use charts. Join the gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, my name is Phil Grande at philsgang.com. The 401k big lie. They tell you invest $10,000 a year for 30 years, compounded at 6% annually. You will have a grand total of $245,000 to retire. That is not true. That is not the truth. What they don't tell you is the hidden fees. There's 27 hidden fees in your 401k. When you're all done, you lose half of what you put aside for your retirement. That's right, half. And another thing, you're not allowed to do individual stocks in a mutual fund. And you're not allowed to make money when stocks go down. That's ridiculous. Would you buy a car with just forward and no reverse? Why would you ever be in a fund that you can't make money when the stock market goes down? Join my gang, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. When was the last time you've gotten a raise? It's been a long time. When was the last time you got overtime? That's been a long time. Sure, why? What people don't realize is we got two components out there that is killing your standard of living. Free money provided to CEOs from the Federal Reserve, and then the way the CEO is being compensated. CEOs are not compensated on performance anymore. CEOs are compensated on stock options. That's how they make most of their money. So as long as the Federal Reserve will give them money free, they're going to focus on the CEO buying shares back to pop that price up to make that stock option. That's why you're not getting paid. Join my gang, philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
Be sure to watch the Phil's Gang Show with Phil Grande, weekdays at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on various devices like smartphones, tablets, your computer, and more. Get free access to the Phil's Gang Show right in your hands at home or on the go. Simply go to philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com and click on the Listen Live link. And we'll see you on the charts.
They just told us right away that we're going to house you, we're going to feed you, and every single one of his medical bills is just all taken care of.
They've saved my family from financial ruin. It allowed me and my wife both to focus on the most important thing, which was the health and well-being of our son.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes. And that's what makes St. Jude so magical.
At St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Doctors send us the toughest cases to be treated at St. Jude, and our patients come from all over the world.
When we come here, they told me, don't worry, everything being taken care of.
We could never repay St. Jude for what they've given us.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti.
Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. Listen to this contradiction.
February existing home sales down 7.1%.
American consumers, they have more cash on hand.
What a contradiction. Matter of fact, all the information you get from all the different financial programs, it's all contradiction. But here at Phil's Gang, I will tell you the truth. Join my gang, philsgang.com. You will enjoy it.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call. It's 877-600-4264. Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Radio Show. Want to know more about Phil's Gang? Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG, 877-600-4264.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. Okay, the market's up 126 points after Yellen spoke. Tomorrow is when we're going to see how well this market hangs in here. Here's what's going on. After she made the announcement she's going to raise rates, and then when we had the job number collapse to 38,000, there's no way she's going to raise rates, and I told you that was going to happen. No way she's going to raise rates. So because of all the bad numbers, all the economic numbers, we just got the ISM number, the PMI number, both terrible. Our jobs number, terrible. Disposable income at a 10-year low. That's unbelievable. If they pay their bills, they have no money left to go buy stuff. Capital investment, machinery, computers, communication, all down. Machinery down 6%, computers down 9%, communication equipment down 28%. That's 15% lower than 2 years ago, in spite of the free money, zero rates. Even aircraft down 27%. Truck sales down 39%. Are you kidding? Shipments by rail. There's trains just not doing anything. You're sitting there, down 28%. But the market's 2% away from all-time highs. Because what happens when you get bad economy? The Federal Reserve acts as a fire engine because they got to continue to make money for a very small segment of the population, the 5% who are the group that owns the Federal Reserve, a private company, commercial banks all over the world. It's the families of these banks, the owners, this cartel. They're so wealthy. They want to continue to make money at the expense of the economy. They don't care about these discouraged workers. They use them to their benefit to keep the unemployment rate down so they can continue to lie to you and say, look, if the economy is good, the unemployment rate's only 4.5%. Go spend. That's the problem. You can write the prescription to fix the economy, but nobody's using it because they're lying. They say, well, why should I cut back, or why should I get another job, or why things are good? The unemployment rate's just 4.7%, they told me. Isn't that crazy? So here's what I want you to do. I can't guarantee you anything, but I can tell you this, that the 5 percentile, they will continue to make money. And if they decide to let the market collapse, and when it does collapse, it's going to be a bigger collapse than the dot-com and the housing con combined, believe me, because there is such a pumping of the stock market with 0% money, and the $5 trillion they printed and gave to companies to buy stocks, the $3.2 trillion they printed and they put into the stock market to rally the market. That's all inflation. She tells us inflation. We haven't hit our inflation target yet at 2%. Are you kidding? She's already hit it. She's claiming inflation is less than 1%. Are you nuts? Go buy a bag of popcorn. Go to the movie. Tell me if you think inflation is less than 1%. See, when they can keep that inflation number down, they can continue to give money out nearly free. That way the 5 percentile can continue to make money at the expense of everybody else. And the government gets cheap money to pay back their national debt. But it's not the national debt that's the problem. And that's why I want you to join my gang. Let me give you the number, 877-600-GANG. So you can follow us. If this market collapses, you will be with us. As the market goes down, you will be making money. That I can promise you. If this market collapses and goes down, you'll be making money. If this market goes up, you'll be making money. Because we're following the money. We're following the money. That's all you do. My PT1 and my PT2. Now, one more time, 877-600-GANG. Now, let's talk about what's going on. We didn't have this long run of job creation. That's what we're being told, right? That we had this long run of job creation?
The perspective is still that you had a long run of pretty good job creation.
Where's the long run of job creation? What are you, nuts? As I said, we didn't. The percentage of working age Americans with a job plunged 28%. That net worth or median household income, two people working, dropped 24%. 51% of all American workers are making $20,000 a year or less. And the median household income where two people work dropped from $56,000 down to $40,000. What is he talking about? He's lying. As a result of a drop in earnings, both the last quarter of 2015, first quarter of 2016, we had an 8% drop. 8% drop in earnings. Companies dumped. The amount of people they dumped jumped 35%. Factory orders, industrial production is plunging, the weakest in 10 years. We just had another 28,000 layoffs, placing wages at an 18-year low. Part-time jobs have increased 4.5 million to now 8.1 million, a record. There are 2.8 million fewer full-time workers now than the day Obama took office. What's Krugman talking about? Obama didn't create one new manufacturing job, not one in the last 7 years. There's 475,000 fewer manufacturing jobs now when he took office, became the president. What's he talking about? He created these jobs. He didn't create one. Every jibber jabber on TV this weekend talked about the 38,000 job number on Friday. What they didn't talk about was the biggest killer. In fact, the only person who talks about it is Trump. He identified it, the biggest killer being the trade deficit. $8 trillion trade deficit. $8 trillion. You can't have a good job if you got trade deficits at $8 trillion. You can't have a good economy. You can't talk about growing an economy or creating good jobs without first talking about how you're going to get the trade deficit down. But no president, no politician wants to get the trade deficit down. So they talk only about the national debt. Then they say, oh, well, it's the national debt because by the time we pay our $200 trillion interest in the national debt, there's no money left. There's no money left for fixing the roads or for R&D or anything else. It's always the national debt, they tell you. No. It hurts, there's no question, but it is the trade deficit. When our multinationals like GE in the late 70s, early 80s shut down manufacturing plants here in the United States, and then they set them back up in China to take advantage of low-cost labor, it was that very outsourcing that has caused millions of middle-class workers, especially the lower-skilled worker, to become unemployed. When they went over and set their plants up in China, GE, Wrangler, you name them, they set their plants up in GE. Now, like GE set their plants up in China. Now, here's what really gets you. Our trading deficits that affect job creation. What they do is this. Every country, we trade with 146 countries. Every one of them, they don't call them tariffs. They camouflage it by calling it a value-add tax, a VAT tax, where when we ship tires to China, we have to pay 15% VAT tax. Oh, not a tariff, it's called a VAT tax. So small businesses have asked, well, why don't we do the same thing? Let's do that to China. But guess what? We can't. Why? Because the politicians are being paid off. Why? Because if you did that, you'd be hurting GE. You'd be hurting all the big multinational companies who move their plants over in China and who are producing over there cheap goods to sell back here to the U.S., who, by the way, they have $2.1 trillion sitting in profits and aren't being taxed. So if we went and charged China a VAT tax to even the score like what Trump wants to do, that would hurt the multinationals. So the multinationals have bought our Congress and bought our president by providing the money to get reelected. So 39 times we tried to pass a VAT tax, and it got turned down in Congress. Oh, you're not going to hurt. Oh, no, don't you hurt China. Don't you hurt China because you're going to be hurting GE. Well, what about the people? We have lousy jobs. We have lousy jobs. You got all part-time. Too bad. We're getting rich. See, that's the problem. And that's why they don't like Trump. They're scared of Trump because Trump says, I don't need your money to get elected. You're not going to buy me. So when I become president, we're going to put in a VAT tax. We're going to double it. And every time China sends something over here, they're going to pay 30% instead of 15%. And that is why you hear all these people on TV, all these politicians go after Trump. They're scared to death because right now there's a little party going on for a small segment of the population. And that's why our president doesn't do anything or our Congress. Because the multinationals that got them elected. We'll be right back. Join my gang right now. 877-600-GANG.
Want more information on this show? Go to philsgang.com or give them a call at 877-600-GANG.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande, philsgang.com. Everybody was asking me, how did I know to short forward when it was November? And it was when Aunt B was telling us everything was fine. Well, what people didn't know is Aunt B was lying to us. Because when she was raising the rates, machinery sales were down 5.6%, computers were down 8.7%, communication equipment sales down 21%. I took a look at our chart and I saw that institutions were pulling money out of Ford. So we said, let's short Ford. And we did that in November, on November 10th, because my charts told me there was a big sell signal and we took advantage of it. And you know that the stock for it has now dropped 17%. That's the return my gang has now, 17%. Don't follow any of the jibber jabber from CNBC or the Fed. Follow me, philsgang.com.
Go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. We're a teaching format, and boy, do we give good service. You know, buying a stock doesn't have to be complicated. The reason why Wall Street makes it complicated is so to make you think you need to hire them. You can do better without them, believe me, because you're not going to have those big fees. Come to Phil's Gang, where we'll show you an easy way to buy a stock. philsgang.com, where we don't make it complicated, but profitable.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call. That's 877-600-4264.
Hi, I'm Grande at philsgang.com. There's so much bad news out there. Let me give you some good news. The good news is you can retire when you're 65 years of age. You can live the same lifestyle you've come accustomed to, but you're going to have to make a change. And what's that change? To get rid of your 401k. It's a scam. It doesn't work. We've never seen more people pulling their money out of 401ks than right now. $40 billion just in this last few quarters, because they know it doesn't work. So they're taking their money and stuffing it in the mattress. That's not what to do. Look, it's not about the money you put away. It's about how you invest that money. And clearly 401ks don't work. But it does work here at Phil's Gang. philsgang.com, where we just got a return of over 35% in copper.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
Every single one of his medical bills, everything is just all taken care of.
We have phenomenal research, outstanding clinical care, and the generosity of the public, which allow us to treat patients regardless of what it takes.
At St. Jude, families never receive a bill for treatment, travel, housing, or food, because the only thing a family should worry about is helping their child live.
Because of you.
Gracias a ti. Because of you.
There is St. Jude.
Hi, I'm Phil Grande at philsgang.com. Aren't you tired of all the nonsense you hear from these financial shows like this?
Should I be worried about Bear Stearns in terms of liquidity and get my money out of there? No, no, no. Bear Stearns is fine.
And then they went bankrupt. This is what I'm talking about. This is crazy. Your 401k. They take half of all the money you put away. Look, it's not about the money you're saving. It's about where you invest it, and not in a 401k. Join my gang. Start using charts. I'll teach you how to use a chart so that you can maximize your returns on the money you do have. And the earlier you get started, the better. Join my gang, philsgang.com. philsgang.com.
For more information, go to philsgang.com or give us a call at 877-600-GANG. That's 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264. Welcome back to the Phil's Gang Show. This segment is brought to you by Phil's Talking Trader Stock Charts.
And welcome back to Phil's Gang. Let me give you the number, 877-600-GANG, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264. Join the gang. And all you have to do, we hold your hand through everything. Everything's archived. What I want you to understand is this. We had the job number last Friday. It was a killer. Today, Yellen came out and gave 2 speeches. The market's up 130 points right now, but the volume is terrible, so there's no real conviction to this rally. I want to put you in a position, if she decides to do another quantitative easing, remember the last time the market went up 128%, I will have my gang in that position. Or if in the next couple of days this market starts to retrace, starts going back down, we'll be in a position. By tomorrow afternoon, we're going to know which direction this market's going to take. Because we follow the banks, we follow the hedge funds, we follow the mutual funds, we follow the pension funds. Right now it's unclear, but not to us. We'll see it on our chart. So we've been laying in the weeds since Friday now. and just waiting to see. By tomorrow we should know. And if the market breaks out, it's going to be oil, it's going to be gold, it's going to be retail. And if it doesn't break out, then we'll be here ready to short the market so you make money on the way down. So again, just try it. 877-600-GANG. You'll find out it works. I can't promise you. I'm not going to tell you you're going to get rich. But if you have, I don't care if you have 2,000, 20,000, 2 million, I don't care. If you sit there and say, I got this money, I want to invest it. Well, then I'm going to show you how to take charge. And then I got 5 stocks that I follow all year, the same 5 stocks. Then you start following them. And every time we buy, you buy. We add, you add. You just copy what we do. There's no risk for you from that point of view if you follow the rules. And the time, it doesn't take any time in your day. This is an alternative. You don't sit there anymore and just give your money to a fund manager. What's he going to do? Because the stock price is not connected to the company, to what they make or anything. It's just if the mutual funds decide, if the bankers, let's start with there. If the banking cartel wants the market to go up, they'll make sure it goes up. They don't care how bad manufacturing is. You can look at all the numbers. I mean, they can't get worse. And we're 2% away from an all-time high. Now, the problem is this, again, going back, nobody's talking about the trade deficit. You don't have to be a Harvard graduate to understand it's the trade deficit, the growing of the trade deficit. When you have no plans to reduce that debt, the trade deficit, it's a house of cards. All we need is some economic trigger, and it will be China. China will be the trigger. Remember last July and the market dropped right away 14%? That's what's going to happen. But right now they're putting duct tape up there and they're scotch taping it and they're putting anything they can to hold this market up. That's why they sent her out with two more speeches today, because she's got to get Hillary elected. For God's sakes, that's 1979. In 1979, our manufacturing employment peaked at 19 million. Now, since 1976, the year Nixon was impeached, and when Gerald Ford became our 38th president, and just 3 years later, in 1979, employment in the manufacturing sector not only peaked, but the median household incomes peaked at 56,000 using today's numbers, due to our expanding trade deficit that started. Just 6 presidents later, they kept kicking the deficit down the road, each president, down to Obama. Now the deficit's at $8 trillion. That's what's causing a drop in the manufacturing jobs. They peaked from 19 million in 1979 to today, down to 12 million. That's a 28%, almost 30% reduction, almost 8 million jobs. This also caused a drop in our standard of living, as median household incomes dropped from 56,000 to 40, meaning 2 individuals working at a home. That's a plunge of 28%. China, when the candidates, especially Obama, when he was running for re-election, remember, against Romney, he promised that he would address that we had this the problem with this trade deficit. He said he would address it, and he was going to address China. He was going to hold China accountable for currency manipulation. He was going to make sure that we would put out a VAT tax back on them. But once he got reelected, it was over. Obama and both the Democrat and Republican establishment sucker punched us. They didn't do a thing. Why? Because they didn't want people to know what was going on. That's the last thing they want to do, is fix the trade deficit. Because to fix the trade deficit, they have to spit in the face of the multinationals. And it's the multinationals who get them elected, who put up the money. That's why they never fix the trade deficit. That's why it's getting worse and worse. And the worse the multinationals get, or the worse the economy gets, the worse jobs we have. They can take what happens, they bring in the Federal Reserve, the banking cartel, the lower interest rates down to zero. The lower interest. So every time the economy gets worse, they're like the ambulance coming to the fire scene. And this is what the 5 percentile want. They want the economy so bad, they want to see us go into depression. And what they do, they sucker us, but they sucker us by telling us over and over, hey, look at, we have an unemployment rate of 4.7%. Boy, aren't we doing good? When wait a minute. What you're doing is making sure when people lose their job, you give them incentives not to go get a job. You tell them, hey, don't worry about your health insurance. Don't hold a job just for health insurance. That's called job lock. We'll give you the insurance for free. We'll make the hardworking people subsidize you. Don't worry about it. We'll give you food stamps. We'll give you subsidized housing. Whatever you want. Just don't go get a job. See, they won't put a levy tax or VAT tax on China. Only Trump will do that. We need to put a tax on all these Chinese goods coming to this country. See, once we start reducing our $8 trillion trade deficit, only then can you get a good job. And what's standing in between you and a good job is a liar. They're called politicians. So what do we do in the meantime? Sit here and just cry about it? Of course not. We sit here and try to create value, try to make some money. Starting tomorrow, we're going to know, since, remember, it was last week she gave out the Friday job numbers. Today she had 2 more speeches. The market's up 118 points. I don't trust it here. So by tomorrow, we're going to know which direction this market's going to go, and I want you to join me. I'm reaching out to you, so you can reach back, and you can reach out to St. Jude. Here's the number, 877-600-GANG. I'm not saying I'm going to make you rich, but I can tell you one thing. When we look at a stock, when we look at Macy's, we're going to know if Macy's is going to go up. Just like we knew that gold mining stocks are going up. One stock, AU, is up over 180%. I'm not making that up. How did we know to get in? Because the institutions, the mutual funds, the pension funds, the 5 biggest banks, we could see them come in starting to buy back in January when CNBC and everybody said, oh, don't buy, don't buy, don't buy. See, we're going to do the same thing right now with the retail. And we're doing the same thing with oil. Take a look at RIG today. One of my gang members had RIG today, RIG. RIG took off today. Beautiful, beautiful, because it, again, on our chart, it turned green. It went from red to green. And that means institutions are putting money in. That's all you need. You haven't got to know anything more about RIG. You got to know how many rigs they have. You don't have to know their margins, their profit margins. You have to know anything. You don't have to know their market cap. All you know is, hey, wait a minute. It went from red to green. And then we tell you, hey, look, it went from red to green. It's time to buy. Or now that you're in it, it's time to add. Or wait a minute, maybe it's not time to add. How about take some off? Every morning we have coffee talk. Gets you set up for the morning. You know exactly what to expect. So, look, I'm not telling you to give up your 401k. I'm not telling you to give up your mutual fund. Look, I'm telling you to try this. It will make a difference in your life. That I can promise. But just know this. Every time they tell you the unemployment rate is 4.7%, it's a lie. Because they want to make sure those who quit looking for work will stop looking for work. And they give incentives to make sure they don't try to go to work. And the biggest incentive is to pay them a check for life, not to work. It's called disability check. So what are you and I going to do? We're going to make money. Join my gang right now, 877-600-GANG. Steve is there for your phone call, and Alex, and they'll take your call right now. Get you signed up. Join my gang, Phil's gang. See you on the charts.
You have been listening to Phil's Gang with your host, Phil Grande, on the Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Off the Wall Street Radio Network. Remember to visit Phil's website at philsgang.com. That's philsgang.com. Or call the office, 877-600-4264. That's 877-600-4264.
It's up to me.